And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Ryan Metzler.
So, I was digging in the trash and I found this perfectly good game just laying around. Somebody had tossed it away in what seems to be just a waste. They'd punched a hole in the cover and they mistreated this game, and I wanted to bring it out and really give it a good review, give it a opinionated review that maybe they didn't cover, one that, you know, of somebody who likes this game. And so I guess I'm going to ruin it right out of the bat and tell you that I like Hawaii. Now, Tom, as you probably all saw, really didn't like this game, and he had good reasons for not liking it. I can't argue his reasons, but I want to give you a different perspective on this game, and that is obviously Hawaii. Big controversy over this a little while ago when he reviewed it. It is a worker movement game in which you move to different parts of an island using resources in order to build buildings in your village, and building appropriately by putting different buildings in different spots, getting buildings that interact with those buildings and interact with the board, will earn you points either at the end of the game or instantaneously, and those points will win you the game or lose you the game if you play improperly. So real quick, why don't we take a look at this game, which plays up to 5 players. We will go over how the game plays and the components, and then we will come back here and we will get my already revealed opinion on the game. Here you can see the setup for Hawaii, and what you're looking at here is a modular board. There's tiles underneath here that are all randomized at the beginning of the game, and then the pieces that go on top of the tiles are set. So there's going to be different types of huts, different types of buildings that you're going to be trying to build in your village in order to earn points. Now, we've set this game up here. Each player has a scoring piece, and they have their turn order, and they have their big guy here on the beach that they're going to be moving. At the beginning of the game, you're going to get resources that are indicated on the turn tile. So this is the first turn's tile. These are a number you're going to have to meet or exceed in tiles that you've chosen by the end. But on the opposite side, it's going to tell you how many goods each player gets. So they're going to get 13 shells and 7 feet. In addition, they're going to get some fruit dependent on where they're at the track. Then you're going to flip this back over. Each player will have those goods. And it's going to tell you that you need to pick up 9 points in these little shell things in order to please the islanders on your area, the villagers. And if you do so, you're going to score points, and whoever gets the most points is going to get the most payout at the end of the round in terms of victory points. But once you've got all this set up and everybody's been paid out, the banker is going to go ahead and they are going to fill out the board, these little empty spaces, with these tiles that they're going to draw from a bag. They're going to start from the bottom left and move across. So they would start here, and they would put a tile down on each of these blank spaces. So we have a 5 and we have a 2, so that adds up to 7. Now, they're going to look at this last number, and they're going to draw a last tile for it. If the total of all of these, so 5 and 2 is 7, and 3 more is 10, is less than this number, you're going to put this tile on here. This next one, we're not going to draw anything because it's already full. We'd actually draw a tile, and if it's less than 5, we'd put it there. So it's 2, we'll put it here. This one here, we're going to draw a tile. It is a 4, and a 5, we draw another tile. And 5 and 5 is more than 6. In this case, we're going to leave the 6 space empty. We're going to take this and flip it to its other side, and we're going to put it over here in the fishing area so that it can be fished later and it has 1 fish on it. And we're going to fill the rest of them out in this manner. And I'll do that real quick, and then we'll come back. So here's the board all set up for the game. Each of these has been filled out appropriately, and we also have tokens underneath all of the players here, which will be taken when players decide to pass and take their spot in turn order. Now, on a player's turn, they're going to move their kahuna to a different space, and they're going to do so by paying feet. And as you saw, you'll start with some feet. Each movement space is going to cost 1 foot. So, for example, if you want to move off of the beach onto this space, it would be 1 foot return to the supply. If you wanted to move to another space, you would be another foot to the supply. And so each space you move is going to cost you a foot. The longer you want to move, the more feet you have to pay. If you want to move back from the spaces to the beach, it's always free, and if you want to stay where you are, it costs 1 foot. Once you have moved to one of these spaces, you are going to have to buy something there. And when you buy something, you have to pick up one of these tokens that is there. So, for example, in this one, there's a 4 only. I would have to pay 4 shells, 1, 2, 3, 4, from my supply if I had them. I would put them back, and I would take the appropriate tile from the area. Now, some areas only have one tile, some have two. If there's two, you get to choose which tile you want. And all of these tiles do different things in terms of scoring and getting you in-game benefits. So I would pay my 4. I would take this token and put it in front of me, probably putting it here behind my little player board hiding temple hut thing that you can assemble that hides all of your resources so players don't know what you have. And I would take this tile. Now, you have 5 villages. Each village is a row, and you're going to be placing these tiles into your villages in order to try and score points at the end of the game. Each village must begin with a hut. You'll see that you have one hut on your board. It looks like this. You have it right here. And there are several other huts you can buy in the game. One here, 2 here, and a long hut that you can use to start your other villages. And each one, as I said, must start with a hut. After that, you can put whatever you want in your village, but no more than one of each building. So if I bought this building for the 4, I could take it and I could put it into my village that's already started. And now this village will get points at the end of the game for each different type of fruit, which you can see you can buy up here, that is in that village. If I have one type of fruit, it's worth 1 point, and upwards 3, 6, 10 for more types of fruit. In addition, if I wanted to, when I went here, I could pay double the value of this token, and I would get the opposite side of this building to place in my thing. So here we can see that earns me more points for the fruit. Actually, it's the same amount of points, but each round I'm going to get 1 bonus good. I can either get a bonus shell, a bonus foot, or a fruit, which I haven't covered yet, at the end of the turn. So this would go in here faced this way, and it's going to be kind of a generator for stuff in the turn, and this would still go over into my area, hidden behind my little hut thing. That would be the end of my turn. It would move on to the next player's turn, and technically yellow would have done that because they're first. But they're going to move and buy something most likely. So let's say it's green's turn now and they want to step here. Maybe they go to the third one. They pay 3 feet to go there. And then they buy one of these 2 buildings. And they can choose to pay 3 or 4 if they want. Or 6 or 8 if they want to flip the tile over. So maybe they pay 3 for this one, place it in their area, and pick up this building. And they could start a new village with this one. So let's say this was their board now. They could start a new one. And this tile would provide points each time that you pick up one of these little circle things that has a shield and spears on it. So you'll see some of these, like this one here, have a shield and spears, while some of them have a tortoise shell pattern on them alone. So each time you pick up one of those by buying something, you're going to get an extra point. And if you had flipped it to the other side, you would get 2 points each time you picked one of those up. And basically, that's going to be a way to earn victory points throughout the game. So all of these buildings have different effects. These long huts are just really long, and I'll go over why. But if you flip them over, they're worth 5 points at the end of the game if you get to score them. These guys here are going to reduce what you need in order to score at the end of each round. And these boats are going to be able to be used for fishing and for visiting islands, which I'll cover momentarily. These huts here are going to generate resources at the end of the turn. This one will get you more shells, and even more if you flip it to the other side. This one will do the same thing with feet. This one here, as I just showed you, is going to earn you victory points each time you pick up one of these markers that has these spears and shield on it. And this one here is going to let you use resources as other resources when you pay for something. All of the fruits are going to provide you fruit at the end of a turn. So once everybody is passed, you're going to get resources at the end of the turn, and each fruit can be used as a wild resource, either a shell or a foot, but not in combination with them. So if you need to pay all shells, you would have to pay all fruit instead. These archers, or hula girls, I guess they look like archers for a second, but they're hula girls. They are going to score 1 point at the end of the game for each building that is in their village, including themselves. You already saw the fruit ones, and now we have the tiki tile guys. These are tiki tiles. You need to get these because your villages only score at the end of the game if you have enough tiki tiles, or you have your village reaching your furthest tiki tile. So for example, as I get tiki tiles, I'm going to place them up here on my board. There are different spaces for tiki tiles, and a village will only score when it reaches that spot. So for example, this village is not yet scoring. There's no points in it anyway, but it's not scoring yet. But if I were to get it out this far, for example, now it's underneath my furthest tiki, and it will score at the end of the game. But this village here will not score at the end of the game. So you need to kind of build them out or build your tikis in order to get more points. In addition, when you place some of these tikis, you're going to get extra feet. We also have kahunas, which are in this space here. And the kahunas, when you buy them, will get placed out on a village, and you'll get points at the end of the game if you score that village. So this gets you 5 points. The next one also gets you 5 points. And the third, fourth, and fifth one gets you 10, 10, and 15 points respectively, and shells when you place on them. But remember, you only get those points if you build your village out far enough to reach your tikis. When you decide you don't want to do one of these things on the beach, on these spaces, you can move back to the beach. And there are 3 places you can go here. There is fishing, there is the islands, and then there is turn order. And so when you decide to do one of these things, you move over to the appropriate area. Let's say red goes over here and they want to fish. Each player has a boat, and the boat shows some feet on it. And you can use these feet, you can put feet on here basically, or spend feet, turn the boat and pick up as many fish as you have placed feet. So in this case, I could pick up a total of 2 tokens and add them to my player area, and I'll go over what those do momentarily. Otherwise, you could go to one of the islands, and in order to visit the islands, you have to pay a certain number of feet. You'll see it's 3, 4, 5, or 6. You will get some victory points, 2, 3, 4, or 9, and you will get the bonus of what's shown on that island. Whether it be a 2-shell hut or a 2-fruit fruit thing, or 4 fruit instantaneously, or a 2-foot hut to place in your village, and you have to be able to place it immediately or you can't get it. Now, in order to put these here, you have to have enough boats in order to send the feet. So, for example, I need 3 feet here. Well, I don't have enough boats, but I could get boats right here if I had gone and bought a boat, and these boats let you use 3 more feet in order to send them out. And you have to send the appropriate number of feet. You go here, you take the right thing, you put this on the bottom, you score the points, and later you'll refill these at the end of the round to get more islands. After everyone passes, which is the last possible action, when you pass, you choose which one of these spots you want and take the appropriate marker. So maybe yellow takes this 2 marker and puts it in front of them. This will determine turn order. But after everyone has passed, you're going to look at this round marker. And the round marker is going to tell you how many points you have to have picked up in these shells in order to have pleased your villagers. So right now I have 4, 5, 6, and fish are going to count towards this too. So maybe I had a couple fish and another tile. So we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right. I'm over the number, so I can score points this round. But if I weren't, I couldn't score any points. Whoever has the highest number of points over the minimum of 9 is going to get 8 victory points. And whoever is the second highest will get 5, and everyone else who made at least 9 will get 2 points. After this, you're going to distribute out the goods for the next round. You'll get 10 shells and 6 feet. And players who have things in their village that produce fruit or more shells, more feet, will get those bonus resources. You're going to clean up all of these little tokens and redistribute them, including the fish. Any islands that are empty, for example like this, are going to shift over, and you're going to refill with a new island for the next turn. Everything will reset. Each player will have their kahuna back on the beach, and you will start again with a new round, moving around to collect different things in order to place into your village, in order to score points at the end of the game. And whoever does this the most effectively throughout 5 turns is going to be the winner. Now, one thing I almost failed to mention, and you'll see I've even partially cleaned up here, is that there are these god tiles. I kind of skipped over them. But these god tiles and the surfer tiles, which I will also mention, all have different abilities, and you can pick them up. And some of them say for each fruit that you have at the end of the game that's showing on one of your tiles, you're going to get a victory point. The opposite side will get you 2 victory points. Some of them will let you get different goods and a tiki when you take them, and an extra shell each turn. Or some let you say that if you satisfy the number of things you need to have on the end of round thing, you get 2 victory points automatically. There's even some that say you get additional points anytime you pick up those shields, which can be really powerful, because if you have huts that give you points for picking up shields and gods that give you points for picking up shields, you accumulate points rather quickly. One of the gods lets you move to any space on the board for only 2 feet, or if you pay the double cost, lets you move for only 1 foot to anywhere on the board, kind of negating your need to get extra feet. So these gods are really powerful. Well, there you have it. That is Hawaii, just the rules, but now let's go over my opinion. The game, which I didn't cover everything in detail, but the game is relatively interesting. The game changes, the board will change each time, so which buildings are better than others is going to be dictated by their position and relative closeness to the beach, obviously their difficulty to get to by spending more feet. So things that are closer to the beach in one game may be further from the beach in another game and more difficult to use. To go with Tom's points that he made, the game is mathy. That is not false. It is definitely a true point. There's a lot of pulling little fiddly chits out of a bag and putting them on the board, adding up, and then figuring out if your number is higher than that last number in the spot, putting the token to the side as a fish. Now, this is easy math. Don't get him wrong. This is not hard math, and I don't think he was trying to say that it's hard. But if you can get past that little bit of math, it's really not that much work. Now, to go with the fiddly aspect, yes, this game is very fiddly to set up. even setting it up for the video, it probably took us over 5, maybe 10 minutes just to put all of the pieces together in their right spots. But this can be combated with a little bit of clever baggying with your components, which I usually do with all of my games, but I haven't gotten to it yet with Hawaii. If you just put all of the different buildings into a little small baggie, you can pull them right out and put them on the appropriate tile. No big deal. The fiddliness of removing all of those chits each round isn't really bad at all. I think that's really a minor complaint. In terms of strategy, I really think there's several different strategic options for this game. I went with the strategy one time of basically getting all of the things I could that gave me points for picking up these spear tiles, those little numbered tiles that have these spear and shield on them. And that got me a lot of points, but I think a strategy of going for fruits would be a great strategy as well. It's like 10 points if you get 4 fruits in a different spot. A strategy of hula dancers would be a great strategy to try and get as many tiles or as many points as possible for each of your villages. And kahunas are obviously going to provide a lot of points. So there's different ways to get those points in the game, and I think that's really interesting. So if you're looking for a game with a modular board that's going to change each time, that has different strategies dependent on that modular board, and you aren't too scared off by some mathiness or some fiddliness, definitely check out Hawaii from Rio Grande Games. I really do think that it's a great title.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.